Tomorrow is Election Day. Who's on the ballot and where throughout Guilford County? The new voter ID requirement is bringing changes to the voting process. What you need to know before you head to the polls. Let's dig into it. Tomorrow is Election Day for the 2023 municipal elections. And while there isn't anything on the ballot for voters in the city of Greensboro proper, there are many other races going on in nearby communities. One in particular is the High Point mayor's race. Two current city councilmen are vying for the spot, Cyril Jefferson and Victor Jones. Mayoral races in Burlington, Gibsonville, Kernersville, Pleasant Garden, and Summerfield are also happening. Council member seats in Burlington, Pleasant Garden, Oak Ridge, Stokesdale, Kernersville, and Jamestown are also on the ballot. You can check out the State Board of Elections website to see who exactly is on your ballot. Well, North Carolina legislature now makes it requirement to have a photo ID to vote. Many of you already have an acceptable form of ID. You can use a North Carolina driver's license, a state ID, a driver's license from another state if you've moved here in the last 90 days, a U.S. passport or passport card, a military or veteran ID card, a college or university student ID approved by the State Board of Elections, or a North Carolina voter ID card. However, there are some exceptions, of course. The North Carolina State of Elections made this video to explain it.
Voters who have a religious objection to being photographed, were victims of a natural disaster within 100 days of the election, as declared by the President of the United States or the Governor of North Carolina, or have a reasonable impediment preventing them from showing a photo ID, can complete an ID exception form and vote provisionally.
Well, we recently spoke with the Guilford County Elections Director who explained what that process should look like.
Go in just like normal, and you're gonna say your name and where you live, and then you're just gonna show that ID, the driver's license or whatever it may be. You're just gonna show it. The poll worker is gonna look at it, make sure that it's your face, your name, and then you're gonna move on to vote.
Well, now you may be wondering what you're supposed to do if you don't have a photo ID to vote. Don't worry, you are still able to vote. That process just looks a little bit different.
They can vote and then return to the County Board of Elections after Election Day and before the county canvass and show an ID to have their ballot counted. County canvass is the 10th day after Election Day, so a voter who comes back with their ID has up until 9 days after Election Day to bring their ID in.
Well, voters who don't show ID will also have to fill out an exception form that we had talked about. Well, making sure that your vote is secure, that's a big deal. It's on top of mind for this election and next year's presidential election. There'll be increased security for the voting machines next year. These new security measures have created a little bit of confusion. Our National Verify team takes a look into it.
Ballot security is a major issue among voters. Elections officials have recently taken steps to strengthen that security, but some of those steps have created confusion. Verify viewer Mark texted us to ask whether rumors that 0 voting machines will be certified by Election Day in 2024 are true. So, Mark, let's verify. Our sources are the U.S. Election Assistance Commission, the Help America Vote Act, and the National Association of State Election Directors. Voting machines can be certified by a federal agency called the Election Assistance Commission. However, certification isn't required by federal law. States control the vast majority of election laws, even for presidential races. Many states require their voting machines to be certified by the EAC, but some don't. To be certified by the EAC, machines have to meet a set of standards called the Voluntary Voting System Guidelines and be approved by special testing labs. In recent years, the EAC has developed updated guidelines, primarily related to cybersecurity. That update appears to be the cause of the confusion. Starting November 15th of this year, all new voting machines have to meet the updated guidelines in order to get certified. But that doesn't mean machines approved under earlier guidelines are no longer certified. Any previously approved machines remain certified unless they are explicitly decertified. So we can verify, no, it's not true that 0 voting machines in the U.S. will be certified before the next presidential election. Every state, even those that don't require EAC certification, has a procedure of its own for certifying or approving voting machines. Some even require additional testing beyond what the EAC does. And all states, regardless of their laws, are required to follow a few baseline federal regulations established in 2002, which mostly deal with basic machine functionality. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
And for those who opted to vote via absentee ballot, you must have your ballot hand-delivered or postmarked by tomorrow at 5 p.m. If you mail it, it must be received by your county board of elections by Friday at 5 p.m. As a reminder, you still need to include a copy of a photo ID with that mail-in ballot. You can track your ballot by registering for Ballot Tracks. Once you register, it will send you alerts on where your ballot is in the election process. So what happens after you cast your vote? Well, your ballot is then inserted into a tabulator, and whatever you selected is recorded on a media card. Once all the votes are in, the results are counted and then released. If you are wondering if your ballot was counted or not, you can always check on the voter search on the State Board of Elections office website to get confirmation. Now, you must go to your assigned polling place on Election Day. This is based on where you live, and it's different than early voting. If you don't know where your polling location is, you can always search it on the State Board of Elections website. The polls are open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. If you happen to be in line at 7:30, you are still able to vote.